Welcome to Hornbill TV Special Explainer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Al. Christmas is around the corner and every nook and corners of our towns are packed tight with people and businesses. Everyone is busy. Everyone's getting ready for the most wonderful time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Have you got your Christmas kapras and Christmas jutas? The most exciting highlight to Christmas when we were young was this Christmas clothes and Christmas shoes. You start wearing them by maybe November. Some used to start blasting the Naga traditional Christmas music by Bonnie M by November first week or so. That was a tradition those days. Those were good times. Those were really good times. Now times are changing, ladies and gentlemen. Your lives have changed and you continue to change too. As we journey along in life, we are gradually growing into new things. We are outgrowing the old, embracing the new, sometimes reluctantly. The beautiful things we used to say and do, we no longer say and do too. We're all growing up in many a way. Many of the things about Christmas that we used to put our heart and spirit into also are gradually being abandoned. Today, let's have a look at those beautiful, wonderful practices and activities that we used to do during Christmas. Beautiful, wonderful practices we no longer do, or we are slowly abandoning them. You already know this one, ladies and gentlemen. Nagas celebrate Christmas on December 24th night. We don't celebrate Christmas on December 25th. For a majority of the people, the build up to the celebration start from November before climaxing on December 24th. In fact, our most fun, enjoyable and entertaining programs are all on Christmas Eve. Our best plans with our best people, our best friends, our lovers and best colleagues are all scheduled for our Christmas plans within Christmas Eve. Parties are there, get-togethers, late-night dinners, gift exchanges, barbecues, music and dancing. The paradox is this: on Christmas Day, everything becomes noticeably quiet after all the celebration goes down. There are no parties, no get-togethers, no night dinners. There are no gift exchanges, no barbecues, no music, no dancing on Christmas Day. Most of us are emotionally spent, tired, or in hangover over a wild night. No, I don't drink anymore. I stopped drinking many years ago. So we have spent our energy that actually should have been for Christmas Day. So the real Christmas event, December 25th, the day when all the fun and celebration should be, is only for the church. Of course, it ideally should be for the church only, to celebrate the one we are celebrating, Jesus Christ. But my point is this: we now invest more in Christmas Eve than investing on Christmas Day. Meaning we spend all our enthusiasm, we spend all our energy planning and focus on Christmas Eve, that by Christmas Day our spirit of celebration is already exhausted. The soul of the joyful enthusiasm, the spiritual energy and the force of expectation, joyful expectation, are entirely not spent on the actual Christmas Day. So what we do is, this guilt can be redeemed only by going to church on Christmas Day, so that we can feel the guilt maybe a little less, than we should be feeling. We no longer celebrate Christmas on December 25th. We celebrate it on the 24th. Let's check out another thing we no longer do. If you were born during 1980s and early 90s, chances are extremely high that you and your friends pitched up tents or Christmas camps to wait in for Christmas on Christmas Eve. It was fun. Almost everyone from my generation used to make so-called camps, Christmas camps, shacks covered by sacks or banana leaves or anything you can grab. We'd make these camps and prepare food there. We'd all crowd into the tent to eat and sing carols as we waited for Christmas Day. Studies say this generation is the loneliest generation in human history, ladies and gentlemen. Children and parents no longer talk. They no longer sit together for dinners. Our so-called friends are essentially people in our Facebook and Instagram accounts we have never met. Our friends are strangers. The reason is this: digital technology, mobile phones and internet has destroyed human connection. Our children are now connected more to social media and the internet instead of playing in the mud or chasing each other in the fields. They are no longer connected to the human touch and real environments, especially community environments, meaning their sense of working together as a team, learning social interactions and conversing with one another, with people in the community. And their sense of community living is underdeveloped. Their sense of the spirit of community living is handicapped. So our children now watch movies on phones and laptops instead of going out there in the backyard skinning their knees or breaking their legs to build camps and cook for Christmas. Our children no longer do that. Even most of my nephews and nieces, all Generation Z people, most of them have never heard about or have little idea about this thing called Christmas camps. Do you remember something called Christmas cards? Right. Christmas cards used to be the heart of goodwill messages for decades until the advent of internet technology and mobile phones. Ladies and gentlemen, the beloved practice of giving or receiving holiday cards, as they were called, Christmas cards, holiday cards, New Year cards, is extinct now. I still have several bags of old Christmas cards that I received from my friends and families in my childhood and youth. In fact, the Christmas cards I last received were during 2005, 2006. I have never been sent any holiday card ever since. And when I do send out cards, you can just see the reaction. What is going on? What is this? I haven't had a card since like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's such a strange activity to be doing in these modern times, ladies and gentlemen, sending or receiving Christmas cards. Holiday cards were a beloved method for people to send their friends, families, and favorite people their best wishes and greetings. Some were sent through postal mail, some passed through people, and some were handed in personally. Holiday cards began losing their relevance and beauty with the introduction of instant messaging and of course email, and in the modern times WhatsApp and Facebook apps, messengers. I believe that letter writing and holiday cards today are practiced only by a few people, especially those from the senior generation. Another practice that is closely related to exchanging holiday cards is the practice of stringing the cards together to make Christmas themed decorations around the house. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are someone who was born in the 1980s and early 90s, then you probably have done this. This was one of the commonest decorations those days. It was a tradition to not discard the holiday cards but preserve them, keep them for the next year and so on. Once you have collected enough cards, you would clamp them over a wire or a string. Then you strung them up around the Christmas tree or the house. You'd have a lot of the cards collected from previous holiday seasons too. So there used to be a considerable number of them every year. Sadly, this tradition is no longer practiced, mainly due to the introduction of more elaborate and creative designs for house decorations. Ladies and gentlemen, another reason for this decline is the lost tradition of exchanging holiday cards, which we talked about earlier. So it is similar to what we call the Christmas star. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a star, the star strung up at your place, the red star? So it is similar to the decline of the star. Yes, while most people still erect a red star, it is no longer the heart of our decorations now. The red star used to be compulsory. That was the first thing every house put up. But now it is the other way around. The red star, which symbolizes the star that guided and led the Magi, or the three wise men to the baby Jesus, is now an optional decoration instead of being mandatory the way it used to be. But those days, you had to string up the star first, and then you start work on the decorations. And if you go around, you won't see many stars. Okay, there are some people who use stars, but it is not as common. Those days, the entire horizon would be covered in stars only, and there were people who just put up one star, and you need not put up any kind of lights there. So that's one thing we also lost. One of the most visible lost Christmas traditions today in the Naga communities is what we used to call the colony get-together. I so love this tradition, ladies and gentlemen. Those days, every member of the colony would gather at a place to sing carols and have food together on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. These days, only a few colonies do this, I believe, and I've never personally experienced that, and I do not believe that many people do this. It was a tacit rule those days that you are not to go over to another colony's gathering to spend Christmas Eve there, but in your own colonies. So let's say if you are a member of Kel A, you're not supposed to go over to Kel B to spend Christmas Eve there. And you were allowed to visit others. You can go over to Kel B and Kel C, but you were not to spend there, but you have to spend it with your colony's own group, feasting group. This was a community bonding event that was strengthened that was strengthened every Christmas. The reason was this: organizing a program that was exclusive only to the members of your colony built attachments among the households of your colony. It built a sense of unity. It built a spirit of solidarity among the colony members and household. I haven't experienced this tradition in a long time, and even those days we used to shift around in Dimapur. We have never seen any kind of colony organization exclusively for the members of the colony in this regard. Of course, there are still some types of these gatherings out there, but this is more casual and open to everyone. So the decline of this colony tradition may be attributed to entire families and relatives organizing family-only programs, where meaning only family members and close relatives are part of it. Likewise, people organizing get-togethers only with their own circle of friends, circle of colleagues, and even church members, it is reduced to that. It's no more colony or area Christmases now. Let's check out another Christmas tradition that we no longer practice. Caroling. Have you ever been to a carol or been part of a caroling group? If you have ever participated in a carol program or caroling in your childhood or youth, your childhood and youth was totally awesome. Those days, if you ever, these days, if you ever see a Christmas carol party, it is mostly that there are only core members of a church or church departments such as youths and women. But there was a time when caroling was not exclusive to church groups. Caroling used to be a community event, and even groups of youths, friends, and like-minded people going out to sing through the streets for the sake of rejoicing was common. It was never organized. It's like, oh, caroling jowo, and then we used to just call each other, oh, TV, and then we used to form a group of our own. There would be one group here, there would be another group here, and the entire colony and streets used to be filled with groups of people caroling. Generally, groups used to organize themselves into groups. They then carried carol books to sing Christmas songs as they marched through their colonies and beyond. They would sing and march through Christmas Eve and then gather at the spot for a feast to wait for Christmas Day the night. It was also a tradition for you to hand out gifts or money to the carolers whenever they came to your house singing. And whenever carolers came to your house, then you give them food, and later you can join them at a place where they wait for Christmas Day to come. It was beautiful, beautiful, wonderful times those days. Of course, times have changed and are changing. The old gives way to new traditions, and just because we no longer adhere to certain celebratory practices doesn't mean the spirit of Christmas or the celebration of Christmas is diminished. However, The loss here is the value and the sentiments that form the heart and the soul of what Christmas used to be those days. But again, we can always start new traditions that has the family as the heart of Christmas. Let's pray and celebrate Christmas in meaningful ways that will have a deeper meaning and add more meaning and beauty to our lives. Thank you for watching Hornbill TV, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alan Willie. See you next time.